Have you ever looked up at the sky and seen a silver bird soaring high above, leaving a trail of white clouds behind it? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to ride on its back, to see the world not as a map, but as a living, breathing place? For most of human history, that was only a dream, a story told around a fire. But dreams, as we now know, have a funny way of taking flight. They begin as a whisper, a question in the mind of a curious soul. The story of American Airlines is one such dream. It's not just about metal and wire, it's about a nation's spirit of curiosity. So let us begin this journey together. We will travel back in time, not in a metal bird, but through the power of story. We'll see how small, dusty airmail routes flown by brave pilots grew into one of the world's largest airlines. Think of it like a quilt being stitched from many pieces. Each small line a tiny dream that someday stitched together becomes a nationwide network. The story doesn't start with one big idea. It starts humbly, with airmail pilots. They flew small, rickety planes made of wood and fabric. They flew by looking at the ground, following rivers, roads, and tracks. It was dangerous, a lonely dance with wind and weather. Imagine a map full of tiny, independent airlines. One route here, another there. Robertson, Colonial, Embry-Riddle, each a small dream turned business. They carried the nation's letters, business contracts, love letters, one small flight at a time. Those little streams stitched the country together. Even Charles Lindbergh started as an airmail pilot, flying routes like St. Louis to Chicago. Open cockpit, cold wind. Pilots learned to read the sky and trust their machines. Someone began to imagine these streams flowing into a mighty river. The quilt was ready for a final, unifying design. The clever man who saw the future in that patchwork was C.R. Smith. He had a big vision and the determination to make it real. In 1930, a holding company began buying up small airmail carriers, bringing over 80 companies under one roof. In 1934, they took a bold new name, American Airlines. Smith knew the airline had to win people's trust. Not just pilots, but moms, dads, business travelers, vacationers. He had to convince everyday people that flying could be safe, comfortable, even a little glamorous. Smith worked with Donald Douglas to build a revolutionary plane, the Douglas DC-3. It wasn't a small, shaky biplane. This was big, metal, and reliable. The DC-3 could carry 21 passengers, and it was comfortable. Seats like armchairs, quiet enough for conversation. Smith called them the flagship fleet, selling an experience, comfort, safety, and a new way to see the world. Seeing the Silver Fleet land was an event. The planes were shining jewels in the sky. The DC-3 began the age of modern air travel for everyone. The DC-3 was a promise. Speed, comfort, safety. American painted them polished silver, the Silver Fleet. The DC-3 could cross the country in about 17 hours with stops, a huge improvement over multi-day train trips. The continent seemed to shrink. American hired registered nurses as stewardesses to reassure passengers. A nurse on board made people feel safe. Planes connected New York, Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles. Business deals, family reunions, new possibilities. Families could reunite across great distances. Some flights even had sleeper cabins. Imagine flying at night, tucked into a bunk, watching stars. The airline became a symbol of progress, modernity, and wonder. The Silver Fleet carried America to new heights. Travel reshaped life, making distant places feel closer and the nation more connected. Then the world was plunged into war. Many planes and crews went to help, carrying troops, supplies, and mail to battlefronts. The war was a crucible. It forced rapid development of bigger, faster, more powerful planes. Pilots learned to fly in any weather, day or night, with new instruments. After the war, more advanced airliners returned, bigger, farther, and faster. The post-war boom gave families the means and desire to travel. In 1950, American bought American Overseas Airlines. Now routes reached Europe. America's name took on a global meaning. Then a new sound filled the sky, the jet engine. In 1959, American flew its first jet, the Boeing 707. It was another revolution. In the early 1960s, American partnered with IBM to build Sabre, the first automated reservation system. What used to take hours now took seconds, the ancestor of the booking apps we use today. The Stewardess became a marketing icon. glamorous uniforms, and photo shoots. But the job was only open to young, unmarried women with strict height and weight rules. Women fought those rules. Their struggle joined the broader civil rights and women's rights movements. They challenged age, marriage, and appearance restrictions and won changes. They proved they were safety professionals, trained to protect every passenger. Their wins reshaped airline labor law and industry standards. An airline is more than planes. It's a community: pilots, mechanics, agents, flight attendants. Crews became more representative of America, diverse and modern. Safety expertise finally got recognition while service remained important. The stewardess evolved into the flight attendant, a story of progress, fairness, and respect. Every role matters in keeping the world connected and safe. Today, American Airlines is a modern giant with hundreds of advanced aircraft. In 2013, it merged with US Airways, one of the biggest airline mergers ever. It now carries over 200 million passengers a year, weaving many histories together. Constant adaptation, training, maintenance, and new technology keeps it flying. The skies aren't always smooth. Deregulation, economic storms, and the tragedy of September 11th changed everything. Those events left deep scars but also showed the resilience of people who kept connecting the world. Now we ask new questions about how we travel: sustainable fuels, electric planes, and cleaner skies. A new generation of dreamers is already imagining the next big leap. More than technology, it's about people. Families reunited, students on new adventures, scientists collaborating across oceans. It asks a fundamental human question: what is over the horizon? Next time you look up at a plane, remember the long story behind that single line across the sky. What do you think the next horizon will be?